thousands of UFO sightings. But the Soviet regime was notorious for its secrecy.
Soviet Union and Communist China had their own reasons why they didn't want to be telling their people about extraterrestrials.
Many of these alien encounters had potentially deadly consequences for the entire world. Tonight, we go behind the Iron Curtain to investigate 50 years of Soviet UFO encounters on Unsealed Alien Files. A global effort has begun. Secret files hidden from the public for decades, detailing every UFO account, are now available to the public. We are about to uncover the truth behind these classified documents. Find out what the government doesn't want you to know. Unsealed Alien Files. Exposing the biggest secrets on planet Earth. Donyagorsk, January 29th, 1986. Thousands of miles east of Moscow, this tiny mining town is about to witness an event that will send shockwaves through the UFO community. Hundreds watch in disbelief as a fireball streaks across the sky and crashes into a nearby mountain. News of this mass sighting will quickly spread beyond the nation's borders, opening the world's eyes to decades of previously unknown UFO encounters. Unsealed case file. The Russian Roswell. Crowds quickly gather at the crash site, where they discover a scorched crater 3 meters in diameter, surrounded by a debris field of small metallic beads. Government authorities arrive on the scene and collect samples of the strange material, which is immediately sent to the Soviet Union's top scientific minds for testing. They are dumbfounded by their findings. The beads are unlike anything ever observed before in the history of science.
3 Soviet academic centers and 11 research institutes analyzed the objects from this UFO crash. The distance between atoms is different from ordinary iron in this material. Radar cannot be reflected from the material. Elements in the material may disappear and new ones appear after heating. One piece apparently disappeared completely in front of 4 witnesses.
But one characteristic above all leaves the Soviets in disbelief. The beads exhibit anti-gravitational properties. They are left with only one possible answer. A declassified 1989 CIA report on Soviet UFOs states that scientists have concluded that the object that crashed was an extraterrestrial space vehicle constructed by highly intelligent beings. An American journalist claims to have smuggled samples of the material back to the United States.
American journalist George Knapp, he was the only broadcast journalist to go to Russia, get some of the materials of the Donyagorsk crash, now what some people are referring to after all these years as the Russian Roswell.
It's a nod to the infamous story of a UFO crash near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947 that was at first confirmed by the American military, only to be later denied in a stunning about-face. It's the event that brought UFOs and government conspiracies into the public consciousness in the West. In the East, the Soviets would attempt a more open policy on UFOs. In 1967, the first UFO study group was formed. Its leaders went on state television to appeal to the public to submit their stories of UFO sightings and alien encounters. The response was overwhelming. But like the United States, the Soviet Union would perform an abrupt about-face on the issue, dissolving the study group after less than a year, with no explanation. In the years that followed, the Soviets would maintain a strict code of silence on the subject of UFOs. What did the Soviet study group discover that forced the Kremlin to bring a swift end to the project? What were they hiding? Like the American cover-up after Roswell, Soviet officials are quick to downplay the Donyagorsk event. But in the late 1980s, the Soviet Union isn't the same hardline state of decades past. New Communist Party Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev has ushered in an era of glasnost, or openness. People are no longer as afraid to speak out on taboo subjects like UFOs. In the wake of the Danyagorsk incident, word of decades of Soviet UFO reports begins to spread. And many of these had deadly consequences. Coming up, the chilling story of what may be the biggest UFO abduction in Soviet history. This is Unsealed Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth.